The heavy click of the steel door slamming shut behind you echoes like a sledgehammer striking a coffin lid. The freezing, bone-dry air from the central AC blasts straight onto the back of your neck, giving you goosebumps. The Glinko Training Center is unnervingly quiet, reeking of medical antiseptic mixed with the smell of freshly polished floor wax. You are 24 years old, and you step timidly up to the reception desk, encased in thick, bulletproof glass. Your hand trembling slightly, you hand over all your identification: driver's license, credit cards, ID card. The black-clad gatekeeper, his face completely devoid of expression, coldly slides a stark white plastic card through the slot in the glass. Embossed on the card is only a pitch-black string of numbers: 0719. No name, no date of birth, no hometown. From the second your fingers clip this lifeless plastic badge to your shirt, your entire civilian past officially evaporates from the real world. You stand up straight, chest out. In your head, you are still floating on the thought that you brilliantly beat out thousands of other elite applications in an incredibly grueling selection process. A naive illusion of youth. Looking at the sheer thickness of the top secret file the gatekeeper is flipping through, your innate sharp intuition whispers a different, much darker truth. There was no fair competition here. This organization had been scanning, tracking every movement, and silently selecting you years ago. You never applied for a job. You are just a standardized component, delivered on time to be screwed in and assembled into a massive security machine. 27 weeks of hellish training begin. The deafening, ear-splitting crack of gunfire echoes endlessly within the soundproofed walls of the indoor range. The acrid, thick gun smoke permeates every fiber of your clothing, creeping deep into your lungs with every breath. You stand with your feet apart, pull the trigger, empty magazine, reload in a second and a half, keep pulling the trigger. Tens of thousands of scalding brass casings clatter onto the concrete floor every day, forming a shimmering metallic carpet. You learn how to move in the infamous diamond formation. You must force your breathing to slow down, forcing your line of sight and the turn of your head to synchronize perfectly with the footsteps of the three other agents around you. Life and death reflexes are ruthlessly compressed by the system to a limit of under 1 second. Meaning, before your brain has time to form any analytical thought, before your neurons can even fire, your index finger must automatically squeeze the trigger. The decisive virtual reality simulation test takes place. The siren shrieks piercingly, tearing through the room. A role-playing suspect suddenly breaks from the virtual crowd, reaching with lightning speed into his wool coat. The frame before your eyes instantly narrows into a dark tunnel, focusing solely on that hand. Your heartbeat stops dead. You swing your arm, whipping your 9mm Sig Sauer out of your shoulder holster. But the gunshot rings out crisply. The simulated bullet drills straight into the center of the mannequin's chest before it can even fully pull its hand out of its coat. The fake corpse crumples and folds. A leather object flies out of the coat, clattering onto the floor. It is a leather wallet. There was no gun at all. You just unloaded point blank into an innocent civilian reaching for his ID. The instructors standing behind the tempered glass coldly make notes on their electronic evaluation boards. The critique flashes on the screen, glaring red and emotionless. Overreaction. That night, you lie staring at the ceiling, your gear already packed in your duffel bag, bitterly awaiting the expulsion order to leave the camp. But morning comes, then night falls, and not a single termination paper is issued. You are kept in the training class. The system even quietly places your file in the high-scoring group. For the first time, you see the true, brutal face of the Secret Service. They prefer a hound that would rather mistakenly bite a civilian to death than let a sliver of assassin risk slip through the net. The absolute safety of the VIP principle always stands above all human moral boundaries. At 25, you officially receive your investigator badge. Thrown into a field office in Miami, a place always stifling with the smell of cheap cigars, carpets musty from the sea air, and cold machine-brewed coffee. 8 grueling years of your youth sink into tailing counterfeiting rings, reeking of chemical printer ink, and dismantling transnational identity theft syndicates. Your pay grade slowly increases over time, directly proportional to your physical erosion. From good luck, 9 creeping up to GS11, then to the senior, GS13 level. A string of days spent undercover, locking yourself in a windowless van, tailing a hardened target for 6 straight months. Your eyes have dark circles, bloodshot with red veins. Your stomach constantly knots from fast food swallowed hastily over the steering wheel. Suddenly, amidst the jumble of collected data, you discover a fatal leak. A sophisticatedly encrypted account is stealthily smuggling all operational intel right out of your own office server to the fraud syndicate. Tracing the IP, the traitor is revealed as a senior internal agent, someone sitting just 2 desks away from you. Hot blood rushes to your head. You gather every piece of irrefutable digital evidence. Quietly clipping it into a hard binder, you drop the report directly onto the special agent in charge's desk. You tensely await an internal purge, a shocking arrest. But arriving at the office the next day, the file on the SAC's desk has vanished without a trace. The 6-month fraud case built on blood, sweat, and tears is immediately ordered frozen, citing a mere 2 words: lack of funds. 3 days later, an envelope containing an emergency transfer order forcing you to fly to the New York field office lands coldly on your desk. You do not resist. You quietly pack your personal belongings into a cardboard box. The organization has just dumped a second bucket of cold water on you, shattering your long-held ideals. Justice has never been their ultimate goal. Artificial stability, covering up every crack to protect the system's reputation, is the absolute top priority. 33 years old, the brass hinges of the Oval Office doors swing open smoothly. You officially step into the Presidential Protective Division, the pinnacle of prestige that every agent lusts after. In reality, it is a gilded cage. Your expensive, custom-tailored black suit hugs your body, concealing the P-229 pistol and the cumbersome radio under your armpit. The clear, plastic coiled earpiece is shoved deep into your eardrum. The constant static transmits ice-cold coordination orders. 200 days a year, you sleep in the world's most luxurious 5-star hotel rooms. Yet they are unfamiliar and soulless. You stand guard for 10 continuous hours, legs spread wide, hands clasped over your stomach, standing motionless as a sculpted statue outside closed oak doors. Sweat seeps out, soaking the back of your shirt beneath the stifling Kevlar vest. A summer afternoon, an outdoor campaign rally. A sea of people screaming fanatically. Flashing lights from a forest of cameras blind you continuously. Ignoring all meticulously approved security protocols, the president suddenly veers off on a whim. He completely breaks the safe diamond formation, charging straight toward the iron barricade to wave, basking in the cheers of his supporters. From within the jostling crowd, an unknown arm suddenly thrusts out, reaching with blistering speed toward the president's chest. Reflexes forged at Glinko jolt your nervous system. You don't need a quarter of a second to think. You lunge. Using your entire armor-clad, 200-pound body as a steel shield, you slam hard and force the president to fold backward. A massive collision reverberates. You lose your balance, getting tackled hard onto the rough asphalt. The friction tears through your suit pants at the knee, drawing blood. But when you roll over, weapon drawn and looking up, that unknown hand wasn't holding a gun. The person was just trembling, holding out a cardboard sign for an autograph. The one who shoved you down in a panic was just an overzealous supporter. The surrounding crowd erupts in boos, backing away in fear. Returning to the White House, you are immediately called into a windowless room. A mild letter of reprimand is slid across the desk. You clench your jaw in anger. You followed the life and death protection protocols perfectly. You used your own body to shield the principal. But the eyes of the superior sitting opposite you remain ice cold, soulless. This system doesn't need you to prove you're right or wrong. The system needs you to obey orders blindly. And above all, absolutely never, ever tarnish the political image of the principal in front of the media lenses pointed at them. 36 years old. You are tagged with a promotion to shift leader. Power rests in your hands, coordinating 12 agents locking down every angle. You stay up all night meticulously planning every route of travel, calculating every second for medical evacuation contingencies. The life of the leader of the free world now rests entirely on the tip of your ballpoint pen. A tense foreign trip to another country. The atmosphere in the host nation's capital is thick, tight as a bowstring, ready to snap. You stand in the intel room, staring at the absolutely safe route map provided by local security forces. Your finger glides over a narrow U-turn right next to a row of abandoned office buildings. Your spine suddenly runs cold. A veteran's intuition screams. There is a perfect, elevated blind spot there, ideal for a sniper's nest. Despite the fierce, table-pounding objections of the host nation's security commander, you sweep the map off the table. You issue orders over the radio, changing the entire motorcade route at the very last minute. The glossy black armored motorcade screeches its tires, burning rubber in a sharp U-turn, diverting onto a parallel avenue. The next morning, a top-secret internal intel leak sits quietly on your desk. Local SWAT police just secretly raided and arrested an insurgent sniper team with heavy weapons lying in wait, fingers already on the triggers. Right at that exact U-turn. You just saved the president's life. Your intuition and decisiveness conquered death. But the media doesn't carry a single line of news. The press is silent. There is no medal ceremony in the Rose Garden. Not a single word of public praise from anyone. You only receive a brief classified email notifying you of a routine pay grade step increase. This colossal organization swallows your monumental achievement into absolute silence. You just saved the world, but the world is never allowed to know that you exist. Turning 39. The elegant suit is taken off, hung neatly in the corner of the closet. The weight of the pitch-black Kevlar tactical armor bears down on your shoulders. You wear ballistic goggles that obscure half your face, tightly gripping an automatic assault rifle. You officially join the counter-assault team, CAT, the heavy, suppressive firepower force. The purest violent fist of the Secret Service. Your reaction limit is no longer defense, but 3 seconds to unleash a hail of bullets and neutralize any threat that dares stick its head up. A political event held at a stadium packed with tens of thousands of people. Suddenly, dry popping sounds like flares ring out continuously from the shadowed grandstands. The massive crowd instantly falls into sheer panic, trampling each other and screaming as they try to find an escape route. The outer defensive perimeter cracks severely. A rookie agent, assigned to flank your right side, completely loses his nerve. His eyes glaze over with fear at the frantic sea of people. He clumsily, his hands trembling violently, tries to draw his pistol to aim straight at the screaming, surging crowd. A panicked mistake could lead to a bloody massacre. Without a second of hesitation, the stiff composite stock of your assault rifle swings up in a brutal arc, delivering a devastating blow straight to the back of his neck. The dry crack of bone on impact echoes. The kid groans once and collapses onto the concrete floor, unconscious. You grab his armor collar with one hand, dragging his limp body across the ground, simultaneously roaring into the radio, ordering the entire circular formation to close up tight, forming an impenetrable shield around the armored vehicle, the Beast. Returning safely to base, absolutely no disciplinary report is filed regarding that internal violent assault. You strip off your gear, quietly looking at your tactical gloves stained with your own teammates' blood. The naked, cruel truth becomes glaringly clear. In this firepower position, you are no longer simply a shield protecting the principal from the public. You are using ruthless violence to suppress, to maintain the stable operation of the system from its very core. 42 years old, you climb to the position of supervisor, headquarters based in Washington, D.C. You no longer have to brave the sun and rain out in the field. You sit comfortably in a massive room, bathed in the blue light emanating from dozens of giant computer monitors. Your job is managing the national security threat list, constantly picking up the phone for interagency coordination with the brass at the FBI, CIA, and NSA. You pride yourself on being one of the core brains of the most sophisticated, expensive security network on the planet. One gloomy morning, the red hotline rings, vibrating violently on the desk. A truck packed with homemade C4 explosives is driving frantically straight toward the vice president's outdoor event location in the suburbs. Your billion-dollar intelligence net is completely blind to this information. Satellite radar couldn't sweep the truck's path. State-of-the-art AI algorithms didn't detect a single suspicious keyword. The perpetrator is ultimately caught, and the explosives neutralized, solely because a sleepy local traffic cop coincidentally pulled him over for a stupid red light violation. Cold sweat breaks out, clammy on your palms. The perfect, impenetrable facade of the organization shatters into pieces right before your eyes. This massive network system, consuming mountains of tax dollars, is not omnipotent as it so smugly claims. It is riddled with holes like a torn net. It is just straining to put on a grand play, wearing a high-tech cloak of invisibility, to pretend to the whole world that it controls everything in the palm of its hand. 45 years old, you step into the position of Assistant Special Agent in Charge, ASAIC. The oak desk is always overflowing with piles of personnel files and thick shift allocation boards. A chronic budget crisis from the Senate leads to a severe shortage of field manpower. The agents under your command are being wrung dry to their last drop of energy. A veteran agent under your command begins to show signs of severe PTSD. His eyes are always dull, lifeless. The hands that once held a gun steadily now constantly tremble. The pungent, burning smell of alcohol wafts from his disheveled suit jacket every morning at roll call. You open his internal medical file. You know perfectly well his mental and physical condition is at a red alert level. on the verge of collapse. But looking up at the digital shift board, empty of backup names, you grit your teeth until they ache. Holding a bright red ink pen, you heartlessly cross his name straight onto the high-intensity protective shift list, having to chase the executive jet halfway around the globe. There is absolutely no one else to replace him. The nation's mission cannot be canceled just because of one individual. On the third day of that hellish trip, he suddenly collapses right in the middle of a hallway door guard assignment. His massive frame crashes down onto the thick wool carpet of the hotel. He dies on the spot from an acute myocardial infarction, the consequence of utter exhaustion. That afternoon, in the quiet office, you personally signed the death certificate. Putting down the pen, looking up at your own blurry silhouette reflected in the office window glass at dusk, you shudder at seeing a completely alien monster. You have become exactly the rotting thing you utterly despised when you first set foot in the Glinko Center. You are no longer a protector of righteousness. You have evolved into a rusted, cold-blooded cog, operating smoothly in a machine specializing in ruthlessly crushing the lives of your fellow men to keep turning. 48 years old, you touch the title of Special Agent in Charge, the absolute peak of a field career chain. You sit poised in wood-paneled briefing rooms, speaking as an equal with the hardcore directors of the CIA, of the National Security Council. You are the powerful conductor, holding the power of life and death, coordinating hundreds of agents, and the most advanced military assets for the international travels of the head of state. A multilateral summit takes place in an Eastern European country, fraught with instability and treachery. The partner intelligence general, wearing a uniform full of medals, smiles amiably and shakes your hand on the airport tarmac. But out of the corner of your eye, you catch a shifty, hidden gaze full of murderous intent. The intuition honed over 3 decades by a veteran tells you clearly. They have secretly sold out the motorcade's entire route to the insurgents. You do not hold even a shred of technical evidence in your hands. All security reports, all frequency scanners display a solid green line of safety. But the familiar life and death obsession tears at your mind to the point of madness. You stay awake for 3 consecutive nights in the operations room, smoking pack after pack of cigarettes until your throat burns. You make a bold decision. Using the supreme authority of the SAIC, you tear up the entire approved joint movement plan. You personally redesign a completely new movement strategy, deploying decoy helicopters flying erratically in the air and utilizing secret underground tunnels. Extreme tension crushes your eardrums, your heart pounding in your chest. The summit concludes in astonishment. The massive wheels of Air Force One lift off safely into the sky. No ambush gunshots ring out. No bomb explosions occur on any of the routes. You board the plane, walk to your private cabin, and slump into the plush leather seat. You rub your exhausted face hard with both hands. Your chest is now hollow. You realize a bitter truth. You will never, ever know if you truly, resourcefully, guessed a sophisticated assassination plot correctly, or if everything was just a stroke of dumb luck due to your overreaction. Or even worse, there was no plot at all from the very beginning. Occupational paranoia has eaten so deep into your cerebral cortex, mutating your genes, becoming a toxic, indelible ideology, binding your mind in fear until the day you die. 52 years old. The retirement paper with the embossed logo sits neatly, indifferently on your desk. The pistol magazines are unloaded, turned back into the armory. The agency badge that stuck with you for half your life is snipped in half by steel shears. All top-secret files recording your existence, your achievements, are encrypted by the system and banished forever into an underground storage vault no one ever visits. The wife who once shared your bed sent divorce papers 10 years ago. Unable to endure your endless absences and soulless coldness, you carry an empty briefcase and leave the headquarters of power, becoming a nameless old man wearing a bland plaid shirt, wandering sluggishly, sinking into the crowded streams of people on the street. A harmless, forgotten ghost. One evening, you eat alone at a luxurious but quiet suburban restaurant. The premium steak placed in front of you has long gone cold, the fat congealing. You haven't touched your fork. Your eyes continuously, unconsciously, scan every corner of the room, glued to the emergency exits marked with blinking red lights. Your sharp gaze evaluates the suspicious, unnatural bulge under the jacket of the waiter pouring wine. Your brain automatically counts the exact number of diners walking through the door and pinpoints the seating coordinates of each person in the confined space. Your brain continuously, relentlessly, formulates dozens of medical evacuation contingencies, return fire contingencies, Your thigh and bicep muscles are constantly tense, ready to lunge. You realize you cannot relax for a single second to enjoy your dinner. The organization has officially thrown you away. You no longer belong to the system, but the cruelty is, that machine also stripped away, forever, your ability to integrate into a normal civilian life. You are trapped forever on the fringe between two worlds, carrying a shredded nervous system, crisscrossed with scars because of the false alarms constantly ringing in your head. You pass the age of 55, your hair turning gray. An autumn morning, you sit alone at a quiet Washington sidewalk cafe, hiding under the shade of an old shedding oak tree. Lifting the bitter black coffee to your lips, the bitterness shoots up your nose. At the next table, a scholarly-looking young man, around 24, is hunched over, intensely focused, typing clack-clack on his keyboard. His laptop screen clearly displays the official recruitment website of the United States Secret Service. His eyes sparkle brightly. The corners of his mouth occasionally smile, clearly revealing a fiery, proud belief, a burning passion for a noble ideal of dedication, sacrificing himself for the country. Your wrinkled lips curl into a dry half-smile. A brutal truth, cold as a razor blade, strikes your aging mind. No one, absolutely no one, has ever truly left this colossal system. Never. You are not free. You are just being rotated, restructured by the system, into another role. From someone directly shedding blood to execute orders, chewed up and wrung dry by the system to your very last drop of vitality, you are thrown to the curb to become a silent observer. An old man sitting on the sidewalk, powerless, watching blankly as a new loop of flesh and blood prepares to start up to continue grinding down fresh prey. You slowly place your coffee cup down on the table, tilting your head to stare at his laptop screen. The mouse cursor is pausing, blinking right on the blue submit button. You know exactly, clearly, every day, every month, every horrific erosion of the soul that will strike next in the rest of that innocent boy's life. The sleepless nights, the decisions to discard morality, the ultimate isolation, because you have lived through all those disgusting things already. You are his future. And the cruelest thing, crueler than even that emotionless system, is that you still sit in absolute silence, take another sip of bitter coffee, and do not open your mouth to utter a single word to stop him.